Good morning students. Hi, how are you? Hope you are doing great. This is Dr. B. Tulasi, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, Vignan Srirula Institute of Technology and Science for Women, Palakaluru. And this is a brief introduction about me. I think you people are surprised to see me. I am here to share my knowledge with you during this pandemic period. So let's not waste our time. I am going to discuss about object-oriented analysis and design and using UML, Unified Modeling Language. According to JNTUK syllabus of R16 regulation, the Unit 1 OOAD contents are Introduction, the structure of complex systems, the inherent complexity of the software, attributes of complex systems, organized and disorganized complexity, bringing order to chaos, designing complex systems, evaluation of object model, foundation of object model, elements of object model, applying the object model. Before starting the syllabus, let me introduce the basic terminology of the subject. So, as the name object-oriented implies, objects are key to understanding object-oriented technology. So, let me ask you a question. What an object is? Can anyone answer this question? Yes, exactly. Alright. Hope everyone learned this while learning Java in 2 semester. Once again, allow me to define what an object is. So, we all know that object is a real world entity and it's an instance of class R. An object is a software bundle of variables and related methods. These real world objects share two characteristics. They are state, they all have state and they all have behavior. For example, dogs have state. The state of the dog can be name, color, breed, hungry, and the dogs have behavior, barking, fetching and slobbering on a newly cleaned slacks. And coming to the next example, bicycle. Bicycle have state, current gear, current pedal cadence, two wheels, number of gears and behavior. And coming to the behavior, braking, accelerating, slowing down, changing gears, all these comes under the behavior of the bicycle. So, hope you people are understood what an object is. Next, I want to ask one more question. Any guesses? Yes, exactly. The question is, what a class? What is a class? Can anyone define what a class? What is a class? Yes, exactly right. You are right. Class is a collection of objects. A class can be defined as a template, blueprint that describes the behavior, state that objects of the type support. For example, let's consider your class, 3rd CSE, which is a class. You people all have the state and behavior. And in this class, you will have different students with the names like Sriram, Madhu, etc. So, every student is an instance of the class. So, class is a group of objects and objects is nothing but an instance of class. So, now you people understand what an object is and what a class is. This is a brief introduction about the object oriented. Next, what is OOAD? Coming to the subject title, Object Oriented Analysis and Design. So, Object Oriented Analysis and Design is a technical approach. So, for analyzing and designing an application, system, business by applying object-oriented program. So here we need to analyze, we need to design any system or application or any business by using this object-oriented program. So what is meant by this analyzing, what is meant by this designing? So if you want to know about this analyzing and designing, you need to go to software engineering. In software engineering, you will have the phase, software development life cycle, which is a systematic process for building software that ensures the quality and correctness of the software built. So, there are 7 phases in software development life cycle. So, I don't want to explain in detail about these phases, but in brief, I need to explain all these phases. So, first one, phase 1 is requirements collection and analysis. Phase 2, feasibility study. Phase 3, design. Phase 4, coding. 5. Testing. 6. Installation and deployment. 7. Maintenance. These phases while developing an application, system or business. Let me explain these phases briefly. So, coming to the phase 1. Requirement collection and analysis. What is meant by this requirements collection and what is meant by this analysis? This stage gives a clear picture of the scope of the entire project and the anticipated issues, opportunities and directives which trigger the project. So, what the ideas, what the opportunities, what the issues you are triggered to do this project. So, this gives a detailed picture about the scope of the entire project. And requirements gathering stage needs teams to get the detailed and precise requirements. This helps companies to finalize the necessary timeline to finish the work of the system. So, in this requirements gathering phase, you need to analyze all the requirements to develop this system. So, coming to the phase 2. Phase 2 is nothing but the feasibility study. Once the requirement analysis phase is completed, the next step to define the document software needs. This process conducted with the help of software requirement specification document, which is also known as SRS document. And it includes everything which should be designed and developed during the project life cycle. There are mainly 5 types of feasibility checks. Coming to the feasibility checks, first one is economic. Economic means financial. Can we complete the project within the budget or not? That should be considered. Next, legal issues and legal feasibility. Can we handle this project as cyber law and other regulatory framework compliances? And next, coming to the operational feasibility. Can we create operations which is expected by the client? And next, technical. Need to check whether the current computer system can support the software. Means the technical support means the system which we are using, whether it supports the software, whether it can be installed in our system, will it work, will our system is compatible to the developed product or not. That should be checked in the technical feasibility. And next one, schedule. Decide the project can be completed within the given schedule or not. Within stipulated period, can we complete this project, business or application, whatever it might be. These are the 5 feasibilities which we need to consider while analyzing the feasibility study. And next, coming to the design. This is the third phase of the software development life cycle. In this third phase, the systems and software design documents are prepared as per the requirement specification document. This helps define overall system architecture. This design phase serves as input for the next phase of the model. And there are 2 kinds of design documents developed in this phase. First one is high level design and next one is low level design. I don't want to discuss all these things in this phase. Next, coming to the coding. Coding means after designing, once the system design phase is over, the next phase is coding. In this phase, the developers build the entire system by writing the code and using the chosen programming language. Here coding can be, you can choose any other programming language, but the system need to run. In coding phase, tasks are divided into units or modules and assigned to various developers. It is the longest phase of software development lifecycle process. It means entire software development lifecycle, 70% of the time is considered for this coding only. Next, in this phase, developer needs to follow certain predefined coding guidelines. They need to use programming tools like compiler, interpreters, debugger to generate and implement the code. This is regarding the 4th phase, coding. And next, coming to the next phase, that is nothing but testing. Once the software is complete, so testing is, we all do always, if we buy something, we'll be testing the product whether it is working or not. Same here also. After writing the coding, we need to go for the testing phase. Once the software is complete and the deployed in the testing environment, the testing team starts its work and they test the functionality of the entire system. This is done to verify the entire application works according to the customer requirements, which is given in the phase 1. Whether the system is following the requirements or it is fulfilling the requirements of the customer who are given the requirements in the phase 1. So that will be tested in the testing phase. And next, during this phase, quality assurance and testing team may find some budget defects which they communicate to developers. The development team fixes the bugs and sends back to quality assurance for a retest. This process continues until the software is bug-free, stable, and working according to the business needs of the system. And next, coming to the sixth phase of the software development life cycle, that is nothing but the installation or deployment. So after testing the software, we need to install it in some system, or we need to deploy it, and we need to check whether is there any further issues with, when we deploy the software. Once the software testing phase is over and no bugs or errors left in the system, then the final deployment process starts. Based on the feedback given by the project manager, the final software is released and checked for deployment issues if there are any issues. And next, coming to the last phase, that is nothing but the maintenance phase. Once the system is deployed and the customer start using the developed system, following three activities may occur. So first one is bug fixing. Bugs are reported because of some scenarios which are not tested at all. So that will be tested in this bug fixing. Upgrading the application to the newer versions of the software. Enhancement, adding new features into the existing software. This will be used in the, these are the activities occur in the maintenance phase. So next one is as well as using visual modeling. These are the phases. Why we have studied all these phases is while defining object-oriented analysis and design, we came across 2 points, that is analysis and design. Further, we have gone through all the 7 phases of software development life cycle. Next point in this object-oriented analysis and design is the using visual modeling throughout the software development process to guide stakeholder, communicate, and product quality. That means visual modeling. What is this visual modeling? Throughout the software development process to guide the stakeholder and the product quality. So what is this visual modeling means? Visual modeling is the use of systematic, rich graphical and text design notations to capture the software designs. A notation such as UML allows the level of abstraction to be raised while maintaining rigorous syntax and semantics. In this way, it improves the communications in the design team. As the design is formed and reviewed, allowing the readers to reason about the design, and it provides an unambiguous basis for implementation. This is how we define the object-oriented analysis and design. Object-oriented analysis and design is the first point. We use this analysis and design by using them we develop a system by using object-oriented programming. And second point is as well as using visual modeling throughout the software development process to guide the stakeholder and the product quality. So these are the 2 points used to define the object-oriented analysis and design. The main purpose of this object-oriented analysis and design is we can summarize the purpose of object-oriented analysis and design in the following ways. Here, the first one is identifying the objects of a system. First of all, we need to identify the objects of a system. Identify the relationship among the objects and generate a design which can be converted into applications using this object-oriented programming. So in this tab, the object design is object identification. We need to identify the objects. The objects identified in the object-oriented analysis phase are grouped into classes and they are refined so that they are suitable for the actual implementation of the coding by using this object-oriented languages. The functions of this stage are identifying and refining the classes in each subsystem or package, defining the links and associations between the classes. It means nothing but objects. Objects are collected to form the classes, and design the hierarchical association among the classes, the generalization, specialization, inheritances, and next one is designing aggregations. All this will be studied while studying these classes in this object-oriented analysis and design. And next, there are some of the real-time applications which we use object-oriented analysis and design by using this UML. And what are these real-time application means? Enterprise information system, banking, financial services, telecommunication, defense, transportation, retail, science and research, distributed web-based services. These are some of the applications which we use object-oriented programming, and we use this UML, Unified Modeling Languages, to design our applications. By designing the applications, we convert the designs into object-oriented programming, and we'll complete these applications. What is object-oriented programming? Object-oriented programming is a programming paradigm that includes or relies on the concept of classes and objects. It is used to structure a software program into simple, reusable pieces of code, blueprints, usually called classes, which are used to create individual instances of objects. So, in object-oriented programming, we use this concept of classes and objects, and by using these classes and objects, we build some software programming and we reuse those pieces of code blueprints, and we use to create individual instances of objects. And next, coming to what is object-oriented analysis. Object-oriented analysis is a process of discovery where a development team understands and models the requirements of the system. So, next, in object-oriented requirements are organized as objects. It integrates all the process and data. But in others are traditional structure analysis. Both process and data are considered independently or separately. They use flowcharts, structure charts for process and ER diagrams for data. So next, coming to object-oriented design. Object-oriented design is a process of using object-oriented methodology. Object-oriented design. Object-oriented design is the process of using object-oriented methodology to design a computing system or application. It means we will design the system. This technique enables the implementation of software solution based on the concept of objects. Object-oriented design serves as a part of the object-oriented programming process or life cycle. So this is regarding this object-oriented analysis and design, object-oriented analysis and object-oriented design. Now we are able to understand what is object, class, object-oriented analysis and design, object-oriented analysis, object-oriented design. So for today I am ending till this topic. Thanks for listening to me. Thank you so much.